The most important person that you can invest in is you. You are your biggest guaranteed return. You just have to take action on it.
Welcome to the Powerhouse Podcast for founders and leaders, scaling smart and thriving without burnout. I'm Nicholle Overkamp. Stay with me here and let's get better together.
Okay, my powerhouses, today is all about the anti-highlight reel. I am going to share with you all of my financial F-ups that ultimately built me millions. Because at the end of the day, you need to know that first, I'm not perfect. I've messed up a lot. And as your friendly financial advisor, I have definitely made a lot of mistakes and fell on my face multiple times. And a lot of that did, in fact, have to do with money. So I want to share that with you because it's important to understand and know that perfect is just completely unrealistic. And frankly, it's a total nuisance. I talk about this all the time, especially if you've been following me for a while. I even have a podcast called Perfect is a Pain in the Ass. And no one is perfect. You cannot have success without failing. So here it is, kids. I am going to share with you all the things that I fucked up and learn from to build millions and ultimately a very successful company. So the first is I was undercharging and I was undercharging, overworking. And the biggest reason is that I didn't study my time. And once we started doing that and doing a time awareness log and understanding not just the time I was spending client facing, but all of the time before, the prep, the in-between, the follow-up, the after, the staff time. There were so many hours going unaccounted for that at the end of the day, when I realized what I was charging for our financial planning fees versus the hours I was working, I was basically giving away our services. And that did not feel good. So I did a time study and I understood profit margins and the value of time. And importantly, the value of the services that we were charging are extraordinary. And especially for clients who implement, they're not only getting their money back, it is compounding and growing with interest if they are taking into account and taking action into everything that we're suggesting. So for me, raising prices was a literal no-brainer. And we still have clients that don't believe we don't charge more. So reason you guys have to understand your profit margins, especially when you start adding a team, staff, your overhead, like 10x's. It's insane, especially with the cost of benefits and everything else. So really understand how much time you're spending on projects or services that you are doing, and then understand the cost of your overhead and math it out. Does it make sense? What is your actual profit margin per hour of work? And do you need to increase your rates so that you can stay in business, hopefully making some profits so that you can take money home as the owner and all of the value that you are providing. So that was number one. And it was very uncomfortable to roll out those new rates and talk about it and increase my prices because I did my homework, I did the math, and I knew with full out conviction, we were worth it in putting the time in. So for anybody who didn't say yes, I didn't care, but most people did because of the confidence I had in the pricing. So that's another one. If you've been waiting to raise your rates or you're not feeling confident or you're questioning it, what if people say no or they don't value you? Cut it out. Do your homework, understand exactly how much time plus the decades of experience that you have and the value you're providing and the results they walk away with. And you can probably increase your rates with pure confidence and not worry about anyone saying no. And next, I played it too safe. I was nervous Nelly and had way too much cash. First of all, I didn't invest enough early on because I was always afraid that I was going to fail, or what if next month they don't make any money, or the business goes up in flames. I mean, I had every what if scenario played out in my head until doomsday. And in doing that, I really missed out on a lot of returns because the investments that I did invest in have gone up over 400%. If I would have taken all of the extra cash that I had and invested it and still kept proper reserves, I would have tripled the wealth that I have right now, if not more. I don't even want to do the math because it'll make me throw up, but way too conservative because I'm so afraid I would fail. So If that is you, do not hoard cash. Absolutely have adequate reserves and everything that you need because cash is still king, but don't be me, don't be a fool and have a plan for that money. The other thing that I did and waited way, way, way too long to do was to ask for help. This one really stinks because as soon as I hired a business coach and actually implemented all of those things, I doubled my revenue in 12 months. Again, I guess that's the theme of this podcast. So I didn't invest in myself soon enough. I was afraid. I didn't believe or have conviction in my abilities. And I was really, really scared that what if I invest this precious money that I don't have or didn't feel I had an abundance of and it doesn't pay off, And at the end of the day, the most important person that you can invest in is you. You are your biggest guaranteed return. You just have to take action on it. And a lot of the stuff I knew what she was telling me to do, but I needed to have cash on the line. I needed to have skin in the game to do the scary stuff. And it worked. And now I am an avid believer of always having some kind of mentor, coach, coaching program, being involved in an organization. I'm a huge advocate of EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. It's not cheap to belong to that, but I get so much out of it in terms of personal development, what I learn, leadership. It pays off tenfold every single year because I'm an action taker. What I hear, I put a plan together and I implement it. So if you are also good at implementing and taking action versus just listening to a ton of stuff and doing nothing about it, make sure that you start thinking about where your gaps are and who is the person that can help you close that gap faster. Because when you hire help, you pay for speed. So that is a biggie. I waited too long to just be me. I know in financial services, first of all, it's like all white men. Most of them are kind of old. That's changing a little bit now. I've been in the business now for 15 years or so. I'm actually starting to be the middle-aged one. But I was young when I started. And when I launched the business, I was 25. I started when I was 21. And I was so afraid of being me. Authentically me, showing up how I wanted to show up, talking how I wanted to talk, serving who I wanted to serve. I, for too long, fit in this like cute little box that everybody else told me I should fit in and what I should do and how I should look and so on. And as soon as I broke loose out of that and really started to just be my authentic self and help the people I wanted to help and talk about the real shit like this, like messing up, not having a front, not having an ego, and saying like, yeah, I made a lot of mistakes. Here they are. Here's how I learned and here's how I can help you. My business started to grow, but it also felt a lot easier. I didn't have to be afraid that I'm going to be a totally different person at work than outside of the office. I'm the same person all the time. And that means I'm definitely not for everybody. There are plenty of people who don't want to work with me, and that's okay because I'm one person. We're a small boutique firm, all good, but a lot of people do because also what you see is what you get. And I support you relentlessly and I'm really good at my job. So there's that now I didn't believe it then. And so starting to step into my real shoes and follow my heart and build a business that felt completely congruent with my values and serving women paid off big time because we created a space that didn't exist. And ultimately I created the space I wish I had and I wish my mom had. And I wish her sisters had, and now it's here and the dream is real, but it took a lot of gumption to get there. And so my lesson for you is if you know inside your heart what is to be true, act on it. Act on it and figure it out along the way. Don't listen to the people's opinions who don't matter. That was a huge, huge mistake I made is the opinions of the people I was listening to and letting them influence me. They had not been where I wanted. They most definitely weren't a solid mentor. So why the hell was I letting them get into my head? I shouldn't have. And now moving forward, I don't. I am so careful of who I listen to and the advice that I take and the insights I let in because I know it doesn't serve me and it has made me one hell of a disciplined powerhouse moving forward because I am laser focused on everything that I want to achieve, what I want to do, how I want to serve our clients and everything that I'm building in the future. And it feels really good. But this came with a lot of face plants, yo guys. So if any of this resonated with you, let me know. And if you're still struggling with some of these things, please reach out. Let me help you. Let's have a conversation, because you are way too smart and way too good to be making the same mistakes for as long as I did. Until next time, my powerhouses, continue to be courageous.